Coming up in this hour, frustration and distress characterize many government institutions. A strike by organized labor paralyzes operations at the Okonfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, the courts, and many other government institutions.
They told the court to not be sitting due to the strike.
It shouldn't be like that. Normally, by 9, the doctors should be around and be taking care of us. But since this morning around 8, we've not seen any doctor coming to take care of us.
Also, lithium mining agreement held in abeyance as minority block its lane, citing quorum issues. We have details from Parliament on a day the House struggled to do anything meaningful.
We are saying, give us time. Let the ranking member, the leadership of the committee, meet the minister. So you raise the quorum just to stop us from laying the paper. This is most unfair.
In our Thirsty Community series, we take you to the Kasana-Nankana West District of the Upper East Region, where despite interventions by government, residents still travel long distances to fetch water from unreliable sources.
Our children, when they are to go to school, they have to also walk about 5 kilometers to get water and come and bath and go to school.
Well, organized labor has announced an end to its strike to demand suspension of all processes leading to the sale of the 60% stake in SSNIT hotels. Good news, but that is only a precursor to a much bigger action, which it warns will happen if SSNIT fails to address what it says are other matters relating to the management of their pension funds by SSNIT. The strike resulted in a shutdown of outpatient department of government hospitals and many other institutions. Kenneth Jesse was at the Ministries and Ridge Hospital.
Strike called off. Relief at last, as organized labor called off its barely day-old strike off. Now it says the only reason it called it off was because it has achieved its mandate of compelling SSNIT to cancel its decision of selling off its 60% stake in hotels.
Oh, the reason is that SSNIT has cancelled the deal. They have terminated the process towards the sale of the 4 hotels. And that was the only condition we gave. We have other concerns, but they remain concerns. But the demand we made on Friday was that that process must stop. And
Organized labor says they will re-engage SSNIT within a month period to see the way forward. And if nothing concrete comes out of it, organized labor will advise itself.
At an emergency meeting held today, Monday, 15 July 2024, organized labor has decided to call off the strike. All workers are requested to resume work on Tuesday, 16 July 2024. We are giving SSNIT 1 month to engage organized labor to address all outstanding issues related to the management of our pensions. Otherwise, we will advise ourselves.
Well, during its meeting at the headquarters of the Trades Union Congress, they say the reason they did not call strike off immediately was because the first letter from SSNIT was not signed by the board chair, Elizabeth Ohene.
The first statement that came from SSNIT was not signed, if you check. So we insisted that the statement must be signed. So in addition to the chairperson of SSNIT board signing the statement, they also wrote a letter to us. And that is what for us was important. And that letter came only on Saturday. So the only day that we could have called the meeting was Sunday. And as you can imagine, that was difficult.
The strike started biting hard during the early hours of the day. A visit to 2 of the nation's biggest hospitals, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, saw scores of patients stranded at the outpatient departments of these hospitals, needing health care with no doctor or nurse in sight. A visit to the ministries here in the Greater Accra region also painted a similar picture. Nobody was on site to work. The only persons you could find there were receptionists, janitors, and security personnel. The places were dotted with red bands. You could see some on trees, some on the entrances, some on the buildings, and so on. because they also were complying with the directive by organized labor. As it stands now, the good news is that hospital OPDs will be working again from tomorrow.
At the Confederation Teaching Hospital, Nana Boakye Yadom reports that there was full compliance as the workers vowed not to work until they heard from their leadership. He says there was pain and anguish as doctors and nurses were not attending to OPD cases.
Congress is really biting hard here at the Confederation Teaching Hospital. Some of these patients who are seeking outpatient department services are stranded. They are left desperate. Many of them who traveled afar to seek these services would have to wait for some time. The nurses are taking their vitals, but then doctors are currently not here or not available to attend to these patients. So the first point of call would be to attend or would be to see a nurse, but then to get to speak to your doctor would become a very big problem for these patients who are here at the OPD center of the Confederation Teaching Hospital. We've engaged with the nurses. They tell us that, well, they are taking the vitals, but then doctors are not here to attend to these patients. We've spoken to a couple of them, but then let's get interactive with this man here. He was here around 7 o'clock when I engaged him earlier, and he was sharing his sentiments with me. He tells me his frustration. I mean, what time did you come here?
I came around 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m. this morning.
Yeah.
And what has been the situation? Have they attended to you or anything whatsoever?
The patient I came with, they've taken our vitals, but they are saying there's no doctor to attend to. So we are still waiting whether the doctors will come and attend to us. Normally it shouldn't be like that. Normally by 9 the doctors should be around and be taking care of us. But since this morning around 8, we've not seen any doctor coming to take care of us.
You've not seen any doctor coming to take care of you, and that is because they tell us that they are on strike. What is your condition?
Oh, for now I can't tell anything, but I may be insinuating that it may be due to those hotel issues and those SSNIT issues.
Now, John Echu at the court complex here in Accra revealed that workers did not show up at work Monday. Those who did left for home very early, leaving many people frustrated. Maxwell Agwaba monitored the strike at the Court Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the Mamprobi Polyclinic before it was called off. He has more in this report.
The strike by the Judicial Service Association of Ghana has crippled a business here at this court complex, as a lot of people who came here today for court hearings today are going back home. Even the workers here are not staying back. They've all left. And we can hear from some of the frustrated people we've been speaking to here.
I've been here 2 hours ago. So we're supposed to have court this morning. So when we came, they told the court to not be sitting due to the strike. So we're asked to go back here.
My lawyer. That's why I came this morning. I didn't see nothing. Court is go on.
What did they tell you?
I don't see anybody there.
I've also been speaking to a legal practitioner, Samuel Andrews, who is unhappy about the situation here. He has been speaking to some of his clients, urging them to come back to the courts tomorrow.
And if it continues, people would have lost a lot. There are people who are seeking injunctions, restraining others from doing something. On account of this, they cannot be heard in court. Certain processes in court will have to be enforced on account of the strike. In fact, to put it bluntly, during this time, we have practically a state of lawlessness, just because people would continue to do whatever ordinarily the law, and when I say the law, I mean the courts, would have restrained them.
So that's how the day went by. Let's do more on this by speaking to Na Adefio Sechere, who is in charge of PR and campaigns at the Trades Union Congress. Grateful to you now for joining. Now, you're asking SSNIT to address issues concerning workers' pensions, else there will be a bigger action that will be undertaken. The question is, what details are we looking at in terms of what SSNIT is to work on?
Well, you have the statement, I believe. And as part of the statement, you read, we are giving SSNIT 1 month to engage organized labor to address all outstanding issues related to the management of our pensions. Otherwise, we advise ourselves. And the issues are many and varied. The bottom line is people go home now and some get less than 500 Ghana cedis. I mean, you have served Ghana, you have given all your best to Ghana, you work for over 35 years, and then you go home retiring on this kind of salary. And this is a time of your life when you actually need geriatric care, you know. So the thing is, I mean, we have heard it said, go home and die virtually. So if you have to get this monthly stipend of 500 Ghana cedis or less, what could you possibly do with that when you need to take care of your health, etc.? So that is one of the main issues that we're looking at. We're also looking at the act itself, because for the act talks about the unification of pensions. And there are some who are not covered, for instance, our security services. And it's interesting that even some groups of workers like judges retire on their salaries, you know, and there are some who don't contribute at all to pensions, but take pensions.
Okay.
And those who happen to contribute rather take less. I mean, the whole thing doesn't make sense to me. You know, so the issues are many and varied. We're looking at the Act itself, the Act 766 itself that takes care of pensions. So the issues are really many.
Okay. Now, because there are many, where should the rebuilding of SSNIT itself start from? Because that's what you're calling from. Hello, now I want to find out from you where the rebuilding process must start from. All right, so away from that, the Eastern Regional Health Directorate has recorded more positive cases of dengue fever. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne viral infection prevalent in tropical and subtropical regions. Caused by the dengue virus, it leads to a high fever, severe headache, joint and muscle pain, rash, and mild bleeding. Whilst most cases are mild, severe dengue can be life-threatening. Ghana Health Service on Sunday issued an alert following the detection of 9 cases in 5 districts in the eastern region. In a matter of days, the Health Directorate says it has confirmed more cases. Regional Health Director Dr. Winred Ofosu at a news conference in Koforidua reviewed the number has risen from 9 to 11 in 5 districts.
The Eastern region is currently managing an outbreak of dengue fever in 5 districts. The districts are Achanse, Achimansa, Birim Central, Birim South, and Birim North. A total of 11 cases have been confirmed by the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. The region is expecting a feedback for 57 more samples that are being worked on. The region currently is managing about 103 suspected cases. So I'm sure many of you have information. Initially it was 9. Some tests have been done again and 2 are positive. So that's why it's come to 11. And like we said, there's still a backlog of tests that are being run at Noguchi. So the likelihood of this number increasing as the day come by is high.
And Dr. Winred Ofosu is urging the public to be vigilant and adhere to preventive measures. As he says, over 200 samples are being tested at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research.
But like I said, because majority of the cases are mild or moderate, painkiller is sufficient paracetamol is sufficient to alleviate the symptoms, particularly once they are educated. So the region, after the confirmation of these cases, have taken certain actions, which are important because we need to know, we get people, the public, first well informed about the disease and reassure them. For us, the good news is that no one has died out of this disease for now. So we need to continue to support and then treat the patients so that we do not record fatalities. The mosquito population, yes, the weather, that's part of it. You know, we're in the rainy season, and mosquitoes need water to breed. So the rainy season, wherever water collects, including if we're eating fish and things and we do not dispose of them well, lorry ties, even plantain leaves and other things, where water can collect small, the mosquito can breed in these areas. So rainy season provide suitable conditions for mosquitoes to breed and also for their population to increase. So that's one of the contributing factors. In terms of the tidiness that we talk about, in fact, these communities, when we went round, that they are clean. You know, in the rural communities, women wake up early in the morning and make sure that they sweep around. So they are always clean compared to urban areas. So these communities are actually clean.
Deputy Regional Health Director Dr. John Echu joins us via Zoom as we try to understand what exactly is happening. Now, grateful to you for joining. 5 districts have confirmed cases of the fever. What is going on? What is going to happen now that we've made this confirmation?
Yeah, thank you, and good evening to your listeners. The region is actively on the ground. We are supporting the regional health director, supporting the districts that have recorded cases, and we are ensuring that the whole district is well informed about the disease and what the Ghana Health Service has put in place to manage it. We are ensuring that the health workers are also well oriented so they can diagnose the diseases and manage them very well. Our prime objective is to make sure that nobody loses his or her life because of the dengue fever. So far, so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you talk about things you've put in place to ensure that you manage this. What are these measures that you've put in place to halt the spread?
Yes. So, like I said, we've put the first one is the education aspect. So we've mapped out our communication strategies, and we are ensuring that we get everybody living in the region, but most importantly, the districts that have suspected cases, to get them informed about how you can get dengue and what you need to do to stay safe, and if you should show signs and symptoms, what you should do. We have also educated oriented our health workers and planned our facilities such that they will diagnose the cases and manage them very well. Fortunately, almost all the cases you suspected, they are showing mild to moderate symptoms. So they are being managed on OPD basis. We've put in structures to, if we should record severe cases, we've put in structures to manage them. So because there are severe cases that can easily die, and we are committed to that. We've also supported the district involved with some logistics so that they will be able to manage the cases very well.
Okay.
An important aspect of this outbreak is the management of the vector, that's the Aedes aegypti mosquito. And that we need a lot more beyond Ghana Health Service. So we've engaged assemblies relatively good. Almost all the DCs have engaged. We've had meetings with them. We've had meetings with the chiefs and elders of the communities involved. we've had meetings with some other organizations, churches, and some other organizations. The main objective is for them to help us to manage the environment so that breeding of mosquitoes will reduce and the people will protect themselves from being bitten by the mosquitoes. Most of these people are farmers, and they go to the farm for their daily substance. So we are trying to get them to be as to how best they can protect themselves even when they go to the farms.
All right, Doc. The question other people in other regions will be asking is it time for us to be afraid that or to be worried about this?
Well, yes and no. Yes, because then the mosquitoes that transmit dengue are not new. They transmit other diseases like yellow fever, and Ghana we've had outbreaks of yellow fever before. So once we have dengue in this part of the country, it's possible that other regions can also have them. And again, I mean, the mosquitoes are such that even vehicles traveling across the country can carry them to other regions. And all that you need is to be bitten by a mosquito that is infected. And we know that now people also move a lot to do business. Within a day, people can travel between Accra and Tamale and back. So it's important everybody gets to know that and you see, again, representation is just like malaria. So there's a possibility that people will have malarial symptoms and will think it's the usual malaria before they realize it's getting out of hand. So it's important people are conscious of the fact that we have dengue around and it presents just like malaria, and it's important to get close to the health system when we are not well.
Grateful to you, Doc.
Yeah, you shouldn't be scared because Ghana Health Service is on top of the business, in my opinion.
All right. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us tonight with those insights. Well, let's go to Wa municipality now, where residents are calling for action in the rising spate of unresolved suspected murders following the latest incident involving a driver's mate. It is a state of shock, fear, and panic in Dobile, a suburb of Wa, following the gruesome murder of a middle-aged man. Now, the deceased, Opoku Richard, was found dead in his throat, with his throat cut at the back of a trailer loaded with thousands of tons of salt that he had accompanied to Wa. The murder of Opoku Richard brings to the number of persons killed in the municipality to 17 in the last 3 years. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam visited the crime scene and reports.
Another gruesome murder, another moment of shock, disbelief, and grief. Another mysterious and unexplained death for the police to grapple with in Wa. Murder number 17 in 3 years, coming on the heels of a demonstration during the weekend by youth groups venting their anger on duty bearers for their passive response to the murderous acts.
Sounding it as an alarm bell, enough is enough. If they don't come to our aid, we will go to our own aid, because we will form volunteering societies in this place and take the law the way we want to take it, because we can hand down the people. But once we are not allowed, we believe in the law, we have a trust in the law, but the law is trying to fail us.
The latest victim, Opoku Richard, was found dead, lying prostrate at the back of a trailer with registration number BA 1818-15. He accompanied to Wa, loading several thousand tons of salt. Assemblyman of Duru electoral area, Ibrahim Zakaria Tanda, fed to light on the issue.
The owner of the salt asked him to come into the room because of mosquitoes, but he pleaded for more time to rest on the veranda. The owner of the salt got up to pray at dawn, only to realize that he was not at the veranda, but where he was lying was soiled with blood.
Nadawu Suleiman, who resides few meters away from the scene of the crime, says they are living in fear and call for collaboration between the security agencies and the indigents to nip the criminal act in the bud.
Tukono kuriye ya sonte te paro na. Te police hini yon kondiata. Te police hini yon kondiata. Sai karja ta hakala.
For now, we want help, and that help should be collaboration between the security and leaders of the Wala community volunteers. A lot of these have happened, but up to date, nothing meaningful has come out of it.
Anyo adu yiri ndangala kabla onto an pelan sorangara timmina kunu kuru ayiri nimber anin tijalanta karsunta atada yiri kari yidi me kari ichi.
Alasan Zubairu and Hamid Badiou Ahmed also shared their thoughts on the issue.
Nowadays, we are always scared. Just like when you are sleeping, you don't even know when they will come to your room and then bring you out. If you look at the incident that just happened, the person was outside and then there's a room closer to where the person is. So nobody can tell. They could have even go inside and then bring the one who is inside. So looking at the situation, we are very scared.
It's very shocking to wake up early in the morning and hear of this sad news. It's very, very shocking. And it's alien to this community. We never knew of this sort. So as my honorable Sama said, it's a life-threatening. We have to all hands on deck to see how we can help the security, the government security people to at least, if not total eradication, but we see how we reduce it to the lowest bare minimum.
Chairman of the Upper West Regional Security Council, Stephen Yakubu, is urging the people to cooperate with the security agencies, especially the police, to apprehend the suspect.
I'm surprised because we have put a lot on the ground, a lot of security men on the ground, patrolling both police and soldiers, and we have designed a way of catching these people, whoever is doing this, and so for this to happen at dawn, we are very, very surprised. And we will continue to plead that information should be given to the police. Our understanding is that the car came yesterday around 5 o'clock. How did people get to know that the car was sleeping here? How did anyone got to know that there was someone who didn't actually sleep in the car and was sleeping in the veranda?
Now, a criminologist with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Jones Opoku, is alarmed by the habitual attitude of Ghanaians resorting to lynching suspected criminals without allowing the law to take its course. His comment follows the lynching of Soweto-based artist Wilberforce Appiah, otherwise known as Wild B, at Tanoso in the Ashanti region. The budding musician is alleged to have died after a mob accused him of theft and attacked him when he stepped out of the home of his girlfriend. There's more in this report.
To his lynching at Tanoso, a suburb of Kumasi, are unclear. Some accounts suggest he had visited his girlfriend Nanaya, who is said to be married, when at dawn, while out of the house, was accused of being a thief. Will B was attacked in the neighborhood and died shortly after he was rushed to the hospital. Abna Asana, who claims to be the mother-in-law of Nanaya, the alleged girlfriend, gives accounts of how Will B was accused and eventually lynched.
I was asleep when I suddenly heard a sound and woke up. I didn't see anyone initially. Later, I heard my daughter-in-law screaming for help. I also joined in the calls. Then, I saw him scale the wall here. He jumped, but unfortunately fell into the gutter. I didn't see him again. Later, I overheard a noise in front of the house. I went out and people who had brought him said, "This is the thief that came into your house." I would be a liar if I know the person who beat him.
But family of the deceased, Obrempong Kwesiama, refutes claims of the relative being a thief.
How
can a thief move from Accra to Tanoso with his clothes and barge into your room to rape you? He retrieved some of his clothes and other belongings from your home. So how is he a thief? Wilbe's attack is one of many mob attacks in the country, including the lynching of a military officer, Major Mahama, in 2017. Criminologist Dr. Jones Opoku is worried about the unrelenting posture of Guineans over lynching suspected criminals. He believes the police's inability to profile mob attackers is fueling the unabated attitude.
We still have to keep talking to people in this country that you cannot just pounce on people and begin to attack them because you suspect. It's not like as if you've even proved anything. You suspect that they may have been committing a crime. So as a people, we need to learn. The inability of our security agencies even to drill down and profile people who actually participated in the killing and the murdering of such people they suspect to have committed those crimes is what has given rise to this kind of behavior over time, because people know that it becomes more like a crowd behavior. So all that we need to do is to just congregate, and we can actually met out any kind of instant justice to anyone. And the police will not do any kind of rigorous analysis to identify who was involved and who was not.
Meanwhile, the lady is in police custody at Ibuakwa for further investigations.
Quite a side on there. Now, this is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. From here, we'll be back with more news. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Let's do more stories here. And because water scarcity has been a persistent issue in some communities in the Kasana-Nankana West District of the Upper East region. Despite interventions over the years from government and charity organizations, residents in some communities in the area often travel long distances to fetch water from unreliable sources. This has led to various health concerns, including waterborne diseases and sanitation issues. In a joint effort to alleviate the plight of the people, Engage Now Africa and the Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints have constructed mechanized boreholes in 5 communities in the area. Correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Rural communities in the Kasana-Nankana West District of the Upper East region are typically scattered settlements, as most of the lands are reserved for farming. Sometimes the landscapes stretch as far as the eye can see, and with just about one reliable source of water supply for the hundreds or even thousands of residents living in these communities, some have to walk the long distance to get water. Those who cannot make the journey must resort to other sources such as shallow wells, dugouts, and rivers to get water.
We used to fetch water about 5 kilometers. We used to walk across streams and rivers to get water. And even our children, when they are to go to school, they have to also walk about 5 kilometers to get water and come and bath and go to school.
In the wet seasons like now, frequent rains also allow the residents to harvest some clean water for their homes. But in the dry seasons, even some of the boreholes constructed by the government fail to provide water because there is usually none underground due to the extremely hot temperatures. This borehole here in the Kafania community in Chiana stopped producing water about a year ago, leaving the residents with no reliable source of water. The district chief executive for Kasana-Nankana West, Gerard Atauje, describes the situation as challenging.
The water table is very poor.
If I tell you the interventions that government has done in the water sector in the district, you marvel. In water and sanitation, a lot has been done. But we could not cover everything in the district. We have a very large district.
Some help has, however, arrived as community development NGO Engage Now Africa, in partnership with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has constructed mechanized boreholes for 5 areas with extremely dire water scarcity problems in the Kassena-Nankana West District. The beneficiary areas include Mayoro, Yua, Gumango, Kafania Adornia, and Mirigu Pungubisi. Thousands of people in these communities can now access clean and safe drinking water. The mechanized boreholes, equipped with solar-powered pumps and storage tanks, will provide a sustainable solution to the water needs of these communities. Cecilia Amankwa is the Africa Director for Engage Now Africa.
This water is here not because to showcase to other people what we have done. We brought it here for you so that your children will be able to come early, fresh water, take their shower and go to school. We want your children to go to school early. We don't want them to be tired going to school and not be able to learn. Do not deny your children of education.
The projects aim to improve the health, hygiene, and overall well-being of the residents, particularly women and children who bear the brunt of water scarcity. Ezra Taft Otu is with the Humanitarian Department of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
This is a solar mechanized borehole. So the mechanism is that they're going to use their resource, which is sunlight, to power the solar cells, and then it will in turn pump water into the 5,000 liter. We have the broader aim of improving self-reliance, because we notice that children spend a lot of time. They walk long distances to fetch water, right? So bringing this right to their doorstep.
Let's do showbiz now, and the lady is here, Becky Beggs. Hi, Becky, how are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm good. I love your hair.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A lot has been happening at the weekend, from the DMV party in the park in the US to the party in the park in the UK. There's actually a movie premiere too in there. We have everything that you missed out at the weekend for you here.
Ghana was outside this weekend with most of its talent gracing various shows in the UK and the US respectively. In the UK, there was Party in the Park. This year's edition saw Wendy Shay,
Two hands in the air like that. Everybody, two hands. Hey, I'm a soldier. I'm a survivor. Yeah, I'm a gangster.
Ken Paluta, Sugar Daddy Kitty,
Everybody says this.
Olive the Boy, and the DWP members taking their turn to excite the charged-up crowd gathered at the Oak Hill Park. Now let's go to the USA and talk about the DMV party in the park. Yeah, you got my accent right. So the party in the park at the DMV also happening inside Washington with performances from Songbird Jackie, The choke hit maker Sefa.
Ladies, say what? Come on. Yeah. Let's go. 1, 2, go.
The newly married Kwesiatha and other great performers, giving fans the best summer vibes ever.
All right, let's go. On the way. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Congratulations to my brother coaches and the team for pulling this off. Now let's come back to Ghana and talk about the much anticipated movie Grooms Men, featuring Ghana's Ojetiana and Jeffrey Norte and many other talents. It was premiered at the Silver Bear Cinemas and our cameras were there. We caught up with some of the cast of the movie.
I had a good time on set, a few days, but yeah, really, really good. I enjoyed it. I think that's what is important.
Every character has a character profile, so I dug into my character, brought out the necessary mannerisms and all, and I did my thing as an actor. Yeah.
That we do, guys, especially bringing exes. We don't even want to hear about them in most cases. And so it was kind of uncomfortable, even reading the text. But once we're in it, once I got myself into it, I just look, it's a character, I need to live it up to expectation, and I went to work, that's all.
Every role is challenging because you have to make sure that you're not being too flat. You're not doing too much. You have to stay in the middle and give a perfect balance. So you have to understand every character. Every role comes with how you approach it. So I wouldn't say it was too much of a challenge, but definitely I had to make sure that I got very well into character.
I was excited because Ghana is like a second home to me. So it's overdue, well overdue. And of course I had some colleagues that I've worked with before already. So it was going to be fun, yes.
Kept us was the fact that he said the girl had cancer.
Yeah.
And everybody came. That was actually a lie, but that was why because nobody would stay there. I wouldn't stay there.
Teeny.
What were you doing there?
We gonna say
Oh my goodness. Anyway, why? You wanted to be an Indian lady.
Yeah, just that reminded me of Kunkumbagya.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful one there. Well, thank you, and thanks to you for doing the watching wherever you join us from. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Up next is Pius Kojobaka with Prime Business. Yes. Until we meet again, God willing, tomorrow, please be good.
Bye.
Thanks.